Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello, peeps. My name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stacey Benjamin, and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I won't want you actually. I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good afternoon and welcome to the African News on Voice of the People TV. I am Solomon Ofem. Before we begin the news, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Now the news in details. Somalia is leading an international backlash against Israel over its decision to recognize Somaliland as an independent state. Mogadishu says the move violates Somalia's sovereignty and is completely unlawful. In a statement, the Somali Prime Minister's office described Somaliland as an inseparable part of the country. It also demanded that Israel immediately withdraw its recognition. The African Union, Arab League, Nigeria, Egypt, and several other African countries have also condemned the decision. They warn it poses a serious threat to international peace and security. Somaliland declared independence in the 1990s but has never gained global recognition. The controversy comes amid reports linking the move to proposals for relocating displaced Palestinians, a plan widely rejected by the international community. Meanwhile, China has openly opposed the recognition of Somaliland as an independent state. Beijing says it fully supports Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Chinese Foreign Ministry warned countries against backing separatist movements for political or strategic gain. It also urged Somaliland authorities to halt what it described as separatist activities. The statement comes days after Israel formally recognized Somaliland as a sovereign nation. Israel says it wants immediate cooperation with the territory in areas like technology, health, and agriculture. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia more than 3 decades ago, but it is not internationally recognized. China's position aligns with the long-standing stance of the Somali federal government. Moving on, polls have opened in Guinea for the country's first presidential election since the 2021 military coup. The vote is being held under a new constitution approved earlier this year. Junta leader General Mamadi Doumbouya is widely expected to win, facing little real opposition. Several challengers, however, were barred from running, while others remain in exile. Doumbouya's campaign has focused on infrastructure projects and reforms, including the massive Simandou iron ore project. Authorities say the plan will create jobs and help diversify the country and the economy rather. Despite its vast mineral wealth, poverty and food insecurity remain widespread. Security has been tightened nationwide as millions of registered voters are expected to cast their ballots. Hopes for peace in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are fading after fresh clashes erupted in Uvira. The violence comes just days after regional leaders reaffirmed commitments to a U.S. brokered peace deal. Rwanda-backed M23 rebels had earlier captured the strategic town despite talks ongoing elsewhere. Residents say fighters remain in the area even after claims of a planned withdrawal. Local security sources say Congolese forces used drones to strike rebel boats at a lakeside port. Gunfire has also been reported between M23 fighters and pro-government forces. The renewed fighting has forced tens of thousands of civilians to flee across the border into Burundi. Aid agencies warned the latest clashes are deepening an already severe humanitarian crisis. Vote counting is underway in Ivory Coast following legislative elections to choose 255 lawmakers. The polls were held amid deep political divisions lingering from the recent presidential vote. President Alassane Ouattara's ruling party is expected to dominate the assembly after fielding candidates nationwide. The opposition, however, remains divided, with Laurent Gbagbo's party boycotting the process. More than 2,700 candidates contested the election, including hundreds of independents. Civil society groups say the outcome will reveal the true balance of political support across the country. Attention is also on a new party hoping to emerge as a third force in parliament. Final results are expected within days as the country watches closely for what comes next. Central African Republic President Faustin Archange Touadera has voted in an election where he is seeking a third term. The poll follows a 2023 referendum that removed presidential term limits. Voting went largely without incident across the country, with counting beginning in the capital, Bangui. Provincial results are expected early next month. Touadera is widely seen as a favorite after touting security gains backed by Russian mercenaries and Rwandan troops. Analysts say his re-election would likely deepen Moscow's influence in the country. Opposition groups have raised concerns about fairness, with the main opposition bloc boycotting the vote. Despite the complaints, the president says the election is key to restoring peace and stability. Guineans have voted in a presidential election widely seen as favoring junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya. The vote is expected to formalize his grip on power 4 years after seizing control in a military coup. Polling ended peacefully in the capital Conakry, with officials reporting no major incidents. However, turnout appeared low as many voters described the outcome as already decided. Doumbouya faced 8 candidates, but none posed a serious challenge, with key opposition figures still living in exile. A provisional result are expected in the next few days. Rights groups and the United Nations say the campaign was marked by restrictions on opposition activities and media freedoms. Despite the concerns, Doumbouya's supporters say he represents stability and economic opportunity for the country's youth. Joining in the studio to help analyze our African news item is a public affairs analyst and, of course, a legal practitioner, Darlington Agumo. Barrister Agumo, thank you very much for joining us on the African News.
It's my pleasure, Solomon. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. It's good to see you here.
So
let's go to the first topic for discussion, which is controversy emerging from the Somaliland story, where, according to the news, Israel is officially recognizing Somaliland as an independent country, despite it not being internationally recognized. Of course, the talk is that Israel is recognizing it because of stories from outside quarters that the plan is to relocate Palestinians to that land. What's your take on that?
You know, this issue of recognizing some states as an independent state and all that is not something you do by word of mouth. We know of so many who tried it did not work until the UN, the international community, US, and all that came in and said, okay, a very good example is Sudan. They are the latest independent African states. That is South Sudan. So there are processes for you to be recognized. If not, every family wants to be a state. eh? If it is not checked. But the question is, what is causing this recognition and all that? There must be a reason. Somalia, Somaliland. Yes. Why haven't Somalia recognized this Somaliland? What is the problem? What are they dragging? Is it that the Somali on his own could not recognize these people or could not integrate them as part of their country? These are issues that we need to look into. Whenever there is agitation for an independent state, go and check. Something is wrong somewhere. Something is wrong. And so, let Somalia recognize the problem at home before blaming Israel. That is the issue here. But as for that recognition, it will not stand until the UN and other international bodies come in.
But the issue that Israel is trying to bring in some Palestinians, we understand what's going on with Gaza right now, where several countries, especially countries in the West, are opposing the U.S. plan to relocate some people from Gaza, and effectively, according to several international countries opposed to the situation, taking them from their ancestral home. And about this, having to bring them away from ancestral home to faraway Africa. You begin to wonder this is where the African Union is supposed to step in. And then that's a lot of issues for the African Union itself.
Look, initially, when the Gaza war was going on, that was the initial plan of Israel and Donald Trump, to reclaim that land and then
turn it into Rivera.
Yes, and then dissipate the citizens to different parts of. In fact, the initial plan was Egypt, but Egypt and many Arab nations rejected it. That look, that cannot happen, and so the idea was jettisoned before the peace plan was signed, and then the bombing stopped. So I don't think Israel can go on with that. It's not possible.
I mean, but if the United States supports them, even the United Nations will not be able to oppose powerful make an enemy of the U.S.?
But then, U.S. cannot risk such a plan because...
Well, they've risked supporting Israel this far.
Yes, they can. But in this particular instance, all the American allies, they are opposed to it. And America cannot be America without allies. That's the truth. If the NATO nations said no, Europe and American nations said no, I mean, there's no way Donald Trump can go ahead. That idea has been...
Donald Trump has already falling out with a lot of their allies already.
But remember, like I told you, the initial plan was to, do that. But when people started recognizing Palestinian states, UK did, Canada did,
Australia
did. So that was a signal for Donald Trump that, look, this thing will not fly you. That was when they started talking. That was when Donald Trump called Netanyahu and said, look, stop that bombing. And they started talking of peace and all that. So the Western world will not agree with Donald Trump. And so this latest idea by Israel, it cannot work. Because the Arab nations are already, contributing money to rebuild Gaza. That's the latest plan now. To rebuild Gaza so that the indigenous can go back to their ancestral home. It would have been possible if Donald Trump was the one financing the rebuilding. But now the Arab nations are doing the job themselves. So I don't see how Israel can go on with that plan. They just said it to maybe they're testing the waters. It cannot work.
Just to shake the trees to see what falls.
Exactly. The Arab nations will not agree. Why would you do that?
But one wonders why the African Union rather, is not exactly coming out strong against this, which further gives legitimacy to some people that says the African Union is just a toothless bulldog as far as Africa is concerned.
African Union is I don't know how to call that organization because they have not represented Africa very well. First, they were here when Donald Trump was bringing in ex-convicts into Africa. They couldn't form a united front to say, look, this cannot happen in Africa. Rather, they left it to the decision of different African states. They couldn't come out strong. And they are hiding under this principle of sovereignty of a state. You don't interfere in what happened in what is going on in an independent nation. But that's not why you are formed. You are formed to defend Africa. That's what you call African Union. The same way you have the European Union. The same way you have NATO. And these are issues. African Union have no standby force to enforce their decision. So they are like a lame dog. They are like a lame dog. They can only bark, they cannot bite. That's the truth. They don't have the power of coercion.
And then, as expected, China has lent its voice opposing the recognition of the Somaliland. Do you think it's consequential or it's consequential either way if China lends its voice or not, considering how strong China's hold is in Africa?
China, with their population and their economy, they are a voice to reckon with. They are the one that built the AU building for Africa. So they can speak on such issues. Yes, they can speak on such issues because if you check China, they are not interested in colonizing anybody, enslaving anybody. You know, China may be a communist state, but they don't want any country imposing themselves on another. So wherever they see such thing, they will always oppose it. So their voice is very important in this issue. We are waiting for US and UK to say something on the matter.
I mean, without US, we will oppose because of joint forces with the US. 100% so far.
Donald Trump will be shooting himself on the right foot if he supports the idea, because his European allies have already rejected it. When they recognize Palestine state, when they are talking of a two-state solution, and now the people that they have recognized as an independent nation, you want to ship them into another country. Do you think that will work? It will not work. So Donald Trump is well aware of this, that the European allies and all that, they will not, and so he will be very cautious. That's why they have not spoken. Meanwhile, China has spoken.
Perhaps they want to remain neutral as far as the situation is
but
concerned.
not for too long. It will come to a point where he will now call Israel. And that is through Netanyahu and say, look, this your idea will not work.
Don't you think the Israelis would have seek the approval and support of the US before they make that pronunciation? Because that's what has happened so far.
Most times, yes. Most times, some of them work behind the scene. Israel will test the water and see, if it will fly. Then before, when the noise becomes too loud, America will now rein in and say, okay, look, Israel, stop your idea, stop this thing you are doing, so that they will not claim the credit, because they are the one who is always reining in Israel. Remember, whenever Israel is running overboard, it is always America that will come and rein them in. It's always America because of historical alliances with their heart.
Now, let's move on to Guinea, where the polls are open for the first presidential election since 2021 after a military coup, where junta leader General Mamadi Doumbouya is widely expected to win. What do you think of that situation?
There is nothing wrong in it, as long as the man will lead well. At least he was reasonable enough to conduct an election. He was reasonable enough to say, look, I want to become a civilian president. So,
with no opposition?
It is left for the people if they want it. After all, your country, are you better? Are you better? What is going on here now? So it's not, it is left for the people. If they want it, if they don't want it, the same way he carried that echo, somebody will equally topple him. Yes, it will happen. It is left for him to provide good governance for the people. That's what will determine how far he stay in office. That's all.
But I mean, providing good governance, it will start from the way he treats the way the country see him as a fair leader. And how can we call him a fair leader if he's creating an election environment where there are no strong opposition?
If they are the one that ran the country aground before the man took over, what do you expect? Would they be comfortable with his leadership? They will not. So they will not tell the whole world what is chasing them and who is chasing them. If they decided to stay outside the country because of they have polluted their country, whose fault is that? After all, some people are still in that country. Some people are there. Did the man chase everybody away? No. It is no politician who didn't know what to do. Look, Solomon, if you ask me, the so-called civilian administrator who claimed to be president and whatever in Africa, all of them need to go back to school. They don't know what is leadership. Seriously, that's why the military always strike. How can a man come into office? Your people elected you. All of a sudden, you left what you are told to come and do and start doing another thing because you have power. You have power, B. Just take an example with Nigeria. What is happening here? What is happening in Nigeria today? Is it not a call for concern? No, be serious with yourself. Is it not a call for? Do we have leadership in Nigeria? And Donald Trump is now running Nigeria. Look at it yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, we know the situation in Africa is bad. You know, of course, we're taking a look at the Guinea situation now, but this is like a situation of two wrongs, and two wrongs will definitely not make it right.
Let us start correcting it from somewhere. The correction must start from somewhere.
Do you think this is a correction?
In the correction of a bad situation, there will be collateral damage. The people of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, are they complaining? They have leadership, and that leadership is working for them. Who called for it? Is it not the civilian leadership that called for what is going on in those countries? If they have been doing well, the people will support them. I have seen where people, the citizens of that countries come out and say, no, we don't want coup. They block it. They tell the military, we don't want you. In fact, the military will quickly go back to their barracks. But how come each time this thing happens in some of these countries, people will be jubilating, dancing. Dancing and jubilating. No, look at it yourself. So, I mean, it's akin to when Donald Trump said they were coming to strike these terrorists in Nigeria. Did you not see the avalanche of
supporters?
Oh, so don't bother yourself. Don't bother yourself. And the man who claimed to be your president tactically left Nigeria so that Donald Trump can take over and do his thing. Can't you see it? Tactically, Tinubu left Nigeria. When Donald Trump said that he's coming back to strike again. What does that tell you? Well,
from Guinea, let's go over to DR Congo, where now two major things that have plagued Africa is corruption, bad leadership, bad governance, and of course, conflicts. And this is a situation in DR Congo where the conflicts there have continued unabated. What's your take on it?
My take is that for Kagame, he thought that we have forgotten the Rwandan genocide. That man is getting out of hand. Why will he be backing a rebel group in another country? What is he looking for in DRC? For Kagame, this is a man that the whole world was praising the other day because of his antecedents in Rwanda. All of a sudden, the man now turned rogue, sponsoring a terrorist group in DRC. What happened to Rwanda? Can't he run his country and leave other people alone? They should rein him in. ICC should call him for questioning. Yes, they should call him. Even when they went to sign a peace agreement in Washington, these guys came back and continued doing what they are doing. Continued. A rebel group, M20 rebel. They have now become a mercenary in the hands of for Kagame. They have moved from DRC to Burundi now. They are making inroads into Burundi. For what reason and for what purpose? These are issues. I don't know why people would not just want peace to reign in Africa. They just sit down and plan how to disturb the system and everything. If a rebel group take over a country, who will recognize them? What would they do? What would they do? If the M20 rebel now succeed in what they are doing, what would they do? They can't form a government. Nobody will recognize them. So what are they wasting their time and energy for? Just to take one part of the country, like some people want to do in Nigeria, and stay there and have their own parallel government, Abi? Is there any other reason? Eh? It's so sad, seriously. It's so sad.
And the US have tried to broker a peace deal several times to no avail. And
the thing is that you people blame US and the Western world for exploiting you, but you are the one inviting them to exploit you.
Which is exactly what I wanted to talk about. We keep mentioning neo-colonialism, and then African leaders, we're not doing anything to stop that neo-colonialism.
You call for it, like they say in my place. They say any man who goes into the bush to go and fetch ants-infested firewood, when he bring the firewood into his compound, won't lizard come there to come and party? Lizards will come for a feast now. So what are you? Will you blame the lizard? You are the one that brought the firewood that is infested with the ants. And so lizard must come for a party. That's the truth.
And once again, the question keep coming in. What is the role of the African Union?
Forget that body. They are just there in as a I said when I knew that body is completely useless. I mean, completely. It was when a whole China, one country built their AU building in Addis Ababa. And they are foolish enough to go there and be holding conference. They are not even ashamed. Imagine 54 countries in Africa. 54 countries in Africa. I am very sure that at the snap of a finger, each of these African countries can raise 1 billion equivalent in Naira. Maybe Nigeria will now provide the 50% of whatever it will take to erect that building and every other thing they need there. Nigeria can afford it. But they allowed a country called China to build it for them. There are things that can bring shame. There are some gifts they give you, Solomon, because of the embarrassment that will come with you. Say, no, I don't want it. In fact, I'm fine. You can keep your gift. Thanks for the gesture. Just for your own self-respect, you don't take such a gift. Yet, they will go there and be holding conference.
Well, African politicians are known to be shameless.
I am telling you, it's like somebody building a house for you and your new wife. And every night, you people go there and be doing romance. You are not ashamed. A man like you build a house for you and your new wife, Abi? And you are happy for that. He gave you a house. What happened to you? We are talking of a whole continent. A whole continent. They couldn't afford a building for themselves. Can you imagine? Meanwhile, just in Nigeria alone, oh my God, you are looking for 210 trillion naira that some people or somebody put in his pockets up till now.
From DR Congo, let's go over to Ivory Coast, where counting is underway following legislative elections to choose 255 lawmakers. But the same thing being questioned, the same question is being asked here, where we find ourselves in a situation where the ruling party make a conducive environment for that to make the environment not conducive, rather, for opposition to thrive. And that's the allegations we're hearing here in Ivory Coast, where the president, Alassane Ouattara's ruling party is expected to dominate, and then allegation there is the silencing of dissent, and the opposition parties are finding it difficult to field candidates to challenge the ruling party.
Now, Solomon, with what you said now and with what has been going on all over Africa, will you be surprised when the military strike in such places? You can see. These are civilian people that you people claim that you love democracy, you love democracy. Is this what democracy entails? Is this the definition of democracy in Africa? This same man was the man that did Lauren Gbagbo in. Now, since he took over, he now refused to, he now refused to, do the proper thing. You can see. If tomorrow now something happens, they say, no, we don't, AU will come. It's only during this period that you see AU coming out to give condition. That's why these people in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, that's why they are not even listening to AU. They even moved out.
Unexpectedly, they're going to send election observers.
They moved out too. So these are the issues. This AU, have they ever reprimanded any of these tyrants in office? Have they ever? This AU, have they ever told their tyrant members, look, this thing is not proper. Do the right thing. Have you ever seen them reprimanding any of these tyrants in office? Have you ever? But when the military got fed up, you say, he don't want military, he don't want military. Are you not the one that invited them? Please.
Well, it seems to be an election season for a lot of these African countries, because from that we'll go to Central African Republic, where the president, Faustin Archange Ouattara, has voted in an election where he's seeking a third term. And which happened after a 2022 referendum, removed the presidential limits, term limits. And this is exactly what we're talking about, where the politicians are giving democracy a bad name. They're bastardizing their constitution, and which has given these presidents an opportunity to run for a third term.
Of course. These are the things we are talking about. All of them is like a bug. They have caught the bug. It's now a trending issue in Africa. When you get in, amend the constitution to stay put. When you get in, amend the constitution to stay put. That is now what is trending in Africa. All of them. When it happened in Cameroon and the man succeeded, the man succeeded. It happened in Uganda. The man, so it has become an in thing. Everybody is now flowing with the trend in Africa. And you are telling me that something will not happen. It's like if you don't do it now, they will say, don't mind that man, sabi anything. No, if you don't do it the way these Africans are doing it now, they will not regard you as a human being. But when it happened, AU will come out and say, look, we don't want coup in Africa. You must give conditions to come back. We give you 24 hours to return to civilian. Your civilian administration, is it better? Is it better with what they are doing in office now? Is it better? Almost, look at small CAR, what they are doing. Small, I say small. Have you seen them in the map? Since the days of Emperor Bokassa, the man was so brutal that they call him the butcher of Bangui. That's what they used to call that man. And when you see him, he look like a witch doctor. Very brutal. Since that time to Bozuzu and whatever, that country have never seen leadership. They have never witnessed leadership. Have you ever heard their name in any good thing? Just one single good thing you can say, this, Have you ever heard their name? Well, in fact, I have been saying it. If I have opportunity, you see these African leaders, I will put them somewhere where generations of boys will go and be looking at them. They will tell you, look at this one, look at what he did. They will point at, they will write that when you give them a banner and they wear it on their body, you see their name, what they did in their country and all that. And they will be using it to study in school. And that's what feeds them. Because these people, they are thinking. If they don't think like people who are very futuristic, people who have vision. In the Western world, their leaders built those countries because of the vision they have. Mention any of these African tyrants that have any vision, except to stay in office and steal all the money.
And of course,
steal all the money.
And of course, the president seeking third term is being supported and backed by Moscow, Russia. What do you think of the increasing Russian influence in Africa, especially in these authoritarian countries?
Of course, because Africa has become a battleground for Western powers.
US versus China versus Russia.
Yes, for superpowers. Yes, you can see now, the second colonialism is here. Whether you like it or not, the second colonialism is here. With what is happening in Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Solomon, are you not ashamed that you are a Nigerian? Good thing, Trump is coming to, but have you ever seen this type of thing happen anywhere in Africa or in the whole world? Have you? Giant of Africa. Giant of Africa. Where is the giant here? Tell me, where is the giant here? Tell me. All the people, all the noise about sovereignty. I like as Donald Trump has come, I like it too. The other issue is secondary. I'm telling you, I like it so that we will not know who is the man here. Because every time they'll be telling us of those who are master strategists, those who know politics more than God, those who, where is all the noise? No, where is all the noise now? All the noise, all the praises, all the support. Where did he end up? The man was so ashamed that he had to leave Nigeria. He couldn't stand it now. Will somebody come and tell me tomorrow that I said what you have in Africa are local champions. They can't even stand before Donald Trump. If African leader gather, they can't stand before Donald Trump and talk. The whole of them, not one person cannot. So the whole of all our African leaders, local champions who are always good in oppressing and suppressing their people, who can go out there in the international community and speak with their fellow leaders, who recognize them, who know them. They are bombing your country and you are running to Europe and Dubai. And you call yourself...
we have to end it here. Barrister Darlington Agumo, thank you very much for your time.
They should direct Donald Trump very well so that some of these missiles don't drop in Asoroko and they say it's collateral damage. Because when the man is not the anchor, so they should be...
Thank you very much. You're watching the African News on Voice of the People TV. More stories after the break. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing.
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation scope. The sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
If you're just tuning in, this is Voice of the People TV and you're watching African News. Egyptian British activist Allah Abdel Fattah has apologized for controversial social media posts made more than a decade ago. He described some of the posts as shocking and hurtful. The apology follows renewed scrutiny after he arrived in Britain last week. Several politicians and groups have since questioned his presence in the country. British media reports highlighted posts from between 2008 and 2014 that appeared to endorse violence. Abdel Fattah says while some were misunderstood, others were clearly unacceptable. Calls for his reputation have come from opposition figures, while the UK government has condemned the historic post. Abdel Fattah was recently freed from an Egyptian prison after serving much of his adult life in detention. The United Kingdom has reached new agreement with Angola and Namibia to accept the return of illegal migrants and criminals. The deals follow warnings from London over possible visa penalties. At the same time, Britain has imposed visa restrictions on the Democratic Republic of Congo. Officials say the move is due to poor cooperation and migrant return. The UK Home Secretary says tougher measures could follow if compliance does not improve. She insists countries must take back citizens who have no legal rights to stay in Britain. The agreements mark a shift under the UK's new migration reforms aimed at speeding up deportations. British officials say removals have increased sharply over the past year. We go on another quick break, and when we return, it will be time for business and sports stories. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now to business news. The South African Rand weakened slightly in early trading on Monday. The move followed a pause in the recent rally in previous and precious metals. Investors booked profits after silver and gold pushed back from recent highs. Analysts say safe haven demand has also eased for now. Despite a short-term dip, the Rand remains one of this year's stronger emerging market currencies. It has gained more than 12% against the dollar so far in 2025. South Africa's improved fiscal position and steady inflation have supported the currency. Stocks were mixed while government bonds edged slightly stronger in early deals. And for a quick look at our sports news, Benin have recorded their first ever Africa Cup of Nations victory after edging Botswana 1-0 in Rabat. The result keeps the Cheetahs firmly in the hunt for a place in the knockout stage. Fans poured out their emotions inside the stadium, celebrating with music, dance and color. Botswana supporters, however, questioned their team's defensive approach and called for a braver display. Elsewhere in Group D, Senegal needed a late strike from Sadio Mane to force a draw against DR Congo in Tangier. The result leaves both sides level on point as the group remains wide open. In phase, Nigeria held on for a dramatic 3-2 win over Tunisia despite a late fight back. With qualification still on the line, AFCON 2025 is already delivering high drama and on and off the pitch. Senegal has recorded a double victory in beach handball at the 2025 African Youth Games in Angola. The West African nation won both the men's and women's gold medals on sand. The competition marked the first time beach handball was featured at the African Youth Games. Senegal's teams stood out with dominant performances across the tournament. In the women's final, Senegal edged Kenya in a closely contested opening set before pulling clearer in the second. The men's team also beat Togo in the final to secure gold. Officials praised the high level of play and the rapid development of young athletes at the event. Senegal's success adds momentum ahead of its role as host of the 2026 Youth Olympic Games. And that's all on our African news. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Voice of the People TV and on other social media platforms at VOP TV Live. If you witness news happenings near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness report event coverage request, photos or videos directly via WhatsApp to 0814-606-4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Solomon Offem. Thank you for watching.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
2564 is coming up on Barney 9, right? The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope. The sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Whether you've been with us through the ups and downs or just joined us for this festive season,
take a moment to cherish the moments you've made and look forward to making new ones on the horizon.
May this new year bring you everything good, everything prosperous.
As we bid farewell to the old year and welcome you to the new year,
may your heart be filled with joy and your home with laughter. And of course, may your spirit be filled with hope.
We'll be bringing you live updates, exciting performance, and inspiring stories throughout the day.
stay tuned for our special New Year's coverage and let's make this year unforgettable.
Thank you for making us a part of your celebration.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
As the year comes to an end, we want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, dedication, and the positive vibe you bring to Voice of the People every day. From all of us on the HR, we would like to say Merry Christmas, a happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Thank you.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bamakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change it. Ever leave it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Ginny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories. From missing funds to policy failures, we ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People television.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chike Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello, peeps. My name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stacey Benjamin, and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TVC. Are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be